Let's get started. Let's jump right into today what we're going to talk about on our third money move. On Monday, day number 1, we talked about the need to move away. God told Abraham, hey, you need to move away from right? You need to get away from that. And so we looked at some of the things that we needed to move away from, whether it's family, whether it's wrong belief systems, whether it's a job that's just keeping you just over broke. We looked at some different things, whether it's addictions to what I call income reducing activities, like alcohol, drugs, partying on Friday nights, taking the weekend off, binging on Netflix, watching sports 24 hours a day. That there's some things we've got to put an end to. And we looked in the life of Noah, how God said there's coming an end to everything. And before a new beginning can start, I know it's painful, but you gotta put an end to some things in your life. And if you don't put an end to it, you can never do the next step. Move number 2 in my life was I moved forward. I got a new picture of where I wanted to go. I got a new picture of new friendships I wanted to make. I got a new picture of financial targets that I wanted to achieve. And yesterday we zoomed in on that fact of God gave Noah a picture. He gave Noah, through a word, he said, I want you to build an ark. And words are descriptions of pictures. That's what they are. And so God gave Noah a revelation bigger than his situation. And that's what God will always do in our life, because he sees the plans and they're way beyond your mind. They can only be embraced with the imagination which dwells in your spirit. Your mind is all about, how can I just survive? That's what your mind's designed for. It's not designed for you to thrive. So many Christians live in the mind of reason and logic instead of living out of your spirit. Your spirit knows no limitations. Your spirit knows what you were designed to do. Your spirit has an imagination to grasp the promises of God, which are so huge. When Jesus says, ask me for anything, that is a huge promise, no restrictions. The only people that put restrictions on it, my friend, are religious people. Small-minded little theologians who want to reduce God down to a little tiny God and want to make the devil a great big devil. Oh, no. How many of you here have a big God, right? Come on, post yes down in the chat down below. You have a big God. Therefore, what? You have a big thinking God and big plans for your future. That's right. And so you can't comprehend how big it is just out of your mental capacities. And so many people live down way below their potential because they're not tapping into their imagination. So we talked about, man, we got to see the future. We got to see it way, way, way bigger. And my mentor, Bob Bill, taught me in my early 30s. He said, Keith, every year you need to 10x your life. Whatever you earned one year, that next year, you need to set a new goal and put another 0 on the end. And you keep 10xing your life as you progress to keep moving forward, because mankind was designed to move forward. Coach Sherry, she's one of my all-star coaches. She's online and she's got a message called progress. And you cannot progress. You cannot move forward unless, right, you see something bigger. Every single year should be a new mountain peak where you're looking out and you're seeing a bigger, brighter, and better future for yourself. That's called progress. And if you're not seeing bigger, believing bigger, that's why you're bored. Not seeing bigger creates boredom. Oh my. And we either, embrace a new vision for our future, stay bored, and then when you get bored, you get depressed. That's why everybody's depressed today. Nobody has big dreams. Few people, only 2% have really big dreams that move them. And God gave Noah something big. I want you to build a big old ark. And I love that. And when I was at my Lois and my mother-in-law's house, God showed me a picture of me traveling the world, becoming a multimillionaire, becoming a best-selling author, helping and serving high-level leaders. God showed me that I would be a consultant, that I would bless millions of people around the world. In the middle of hell, God showed me a picture. God does not consult your present to determine your future. Somebody put your hands together. Come on, give me a clap out there, all of you. Come on now, come on. God's not looking at your past, where you've been. We got to move forward and move toward something bigger and brighter. Now, day number 3, here's our next one. You got to move with a multiplication plan. Oh my. You've got to move now that you see it, now you got to plan it. And it has to be a plan for multiplication. This is found still right here in the book of Genesis. It's a really cool thing if you look at it. God first creates a picture before God gives Noah a plan. So the picture comes before the plan. PP. Picture before the plan. And so he says, here's an ark. Woo, big. I want you to see a picture of a big boat. And then he gives Noah the dimensions of it. And I'm not going to take time to read it all through. It's right there in Genesis chapter 6, verses 13 and 14. But God begins to show him, right? He shows him the wood he wants to use. I want you to use a special wood for this. He shows them the dimensions. He starts giving them measurements of what he wants it to look, of how big it's supposed to be. And by the way, it was approximately 1.5 football fields. It was huge. It was big. And then he says, I want you to prepare some pitch. So pitch was what you seal things with. I want you to pitch the whole thing so it doesn't leak. That makes sense. How many glad God's even into the details, the small deal? I mean, it's like a no-brainer. You can't put log on top of log and the water's going to come in. He tells you the details, and that's part of serving God, man. Most people don't get into the details. God does. And he said, put some pitch on it, put it on the inside, put it on the outside. And then he said, listen, now that I give you all these measurements, this thing is going to be 3 stories high. So he lays out in intricate detail what this ship's going to look like. And, all of us have heard, right? All of us. If you fail to plan, you're planning to what? Post it down in the chat. Let me see you if you're with me here today. Come on, post it down in the chat. Post it down. Let me see if you've heard the same thing I've heard. Yeah, everybody's posting. Come on. Yep. Janine. Yep. Midred. Yep. Yes, Karen. Yes, Mary. Yep. And how many of you believe if you fail to plan, you plan to fail? Nobody will argue that. You can read it in a million different leadership books. All of us agree. But then if I say to you, all right, show me your detailed plan on how you're going to make $1 million in the next 3 years. Yeah, see, that's when a good Baptist starts speaking in tongues. It's easy to be at church and we get stuff and we shout amen and we make our little confessions and we sing our little praise and worship songs. And yet, okay, when we get down to the nuts and bolts, all right, it's easy to give 10%. It's hard to make a plan for the 90%. And most people don't plan for the other 90%. That's why they waste the 90%. And because they don't have a plan on how to multiply that 90%. And this week is all about helping you understand this. And this principle is about it because I said you need to move ahead with a multiplication plan. Notice I didn't say an addition plan. Now, there's a lot of financial Christian gurus out there will give you a plan for 40 years that'll help you slowly get there. Slow. And you just a little bit at a time, and you say no to yourself over and over and over. You tell yourself, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, I can't afford it. And let me tell you, a mind that thinks small and a mind that thinks can't afford and a mind that thinks poverty thoughts, you're never going to reach the apex of your potential thinking small. You don't think your way to wealth by thinking small. You get there by thinking really big and taking massive action. And so in this story, we see, right? We see that God gave a plan to a man for a boat. Now, that was a physical boat, but what we're talking about is that we can also use that to say we need a plan for our financial battleship. That's what we want to build, a battleship that when the storms of life come against us, because they will. How many of you know, no matter how positive you confess that nothing bad's going to happen to you, how many of you know bad things will happen to good people? You can rebuke me. You can cast the devil out of me. You can say I'm wrong, but here's what I know. As we journey in life, especially the older we get, come on, some of my older folk out there, come on, who are beyond 30 years old, and you know, you get this ache and that ache, and you start going, whoa, man, what's going on with my body, right? And the older we get, there's things that happen to us. We think, man, how's my body feeling like this, man? I still feel like I'm 20 years old, but my joints aren't moving quite as good as they used to move. And I got this back pain and I got that stuff starts happening. Right. And so we've got to prepare. We've got to prepare and build our financial arc for these type of events that happen to us in our life so that when they come, it doesn't bother us. We're in this battleship and we just keep moving forward. So he gave him a plan. Then he also gave him a plan to protect his family. He said, listen, some bad stuff's going to happen. Get your family inside this place of protection. And that's the responsibility of a father. That's a responsibility of a husband to protect the family. And that's what happens. The Bible says money is a defense. And that's why you need a lot of money, because you need to make sure that your family's taken well care of. And I love this because in verse 19, and I just want to just read this little thing. It's quite interesting. God tells Noah, he says, of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 by 2 every sort into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. And then it goes on to say that you'll keep everyone in the ship alive. It's interesting because God thinks of generational wealth. That's how God thinks. God wants us to have so much money that we have an abundance so we're able to take care of. The Bible says the blessing of the Lord adds no sorrow, right? But it also says a good man lives an inheritance to his children's children. So God wants us to be able to have enough finances that not only do we care for ourselves, but we're able to provide for our children and their children. Now, that's just a good man. My suggestion is that we go beyond good and we become great, which we go into the third generation of wealth building, that even our great-great-grandchildren are blessed because they are connected to your lineage. How many of you want to be a blessing to future generations of your whole family? Oh, yeah. All right. So now here's what I want you to grasp for today, right? A dream minus a wise plan equals a fantasy. A dream minus a wise plan equals a fantasy. And here's the next one. A dream plus dumb actions equal a nightmare. So, and that's what I see with a lot of people in church, right? They have big dreams. The church is not void of dreamers. The church is not void of inspiration and motivation. Like sometimes people say, here comes Dr. Keith Johnson. He's a motivational speaker. I hate when they call me that, because if you motivate an idiot, you just motivate them to do dumb things faster. And what we do in church a lot of times, we give these wonderful inspirational talks or prophetic words of how things are going to get better. And it says, woo, we get motivated, but we have dumb actions. We have dumb plans that if we just have a dumb plan, what's going to happen? You're going to enter into a nightmare. And that's where a lot of Christians are today. So we want the wise plan. We want wise planning. That means that we have current relevant information. Now, I want to talk to you about this dynamic of, I said you want a plan that's a multiplication plan. Now, notice God told Noah, I want you to take 2 of everything. Notice he didn't say 1 of everything. My multimillionaire mentor told me back when I just had a job. If you've got a job, just post yes down below. I'm curious, how many of you on the call have a regular job? You go, you work, say 9 to 5. If you got a job, post yes down below. I want you to post yes down below if you have a job. Now, okay, I see him. Go ahead. Tell me, those of you who have a job, just post yes below. Now, I had a job, and when I ran into my multimillionaire friend said, Keith, the first principle I want to teach you is that 1 is a losing number. I want you to say that to yourself right where you're at. Just say, self, 1 is a losing number. Now think about this for a moment. Think about this. 1 times $50,000 equals what? $50,000. 1 times $100,000 equals what? 100,000. 1 times a million equals what? A million. 1 is a losing number. When he first told me, I didn't get what he's saying. He said, Keith, your problem is you only have 1 source of income called your job. That's why you're losing. Thanks a lot. It's like wipe the blood off my face, right? And he says, and you hate the job you're in. He said, where's your plan on how you're going to transition out of this job to create another stream of income? And he started telling me, he said, Keith, I have 8 different streams of income coming into my life. I'm like, 8? Wow. He said, yes, Keith, that's the difference between the rich, the poor, and the middle class. The poor and the middle class. How many of you don't want to be poor or middle class anymore? Just struggling paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. Say goodbye. I don't want that no more, right? Well, if all you have is 1 stream, you are all you're doomed. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, but 1 times anything is that. And what he started telling me, he said, Keith, the rich have multiple streams of income coming into their life. And that kind of totally blew me away. So with Noah, he said, take them in 2 by 2, multiplication. Think about Jesus. Jesus didn't send the disciples out 1 by 1, did he? He sent them out what? 2 by 2, because there's power in multiplication. That's how God thinks. And when you read this whole story about Noah, you'll see after they came out of the ark, the first thing God tells Noah, he said, be fruitful and multiply. He didn't say be fruitful and add. God thinks multiplication. The first instruction God gave Adam and Eve, I want you to be fruitful. I want you to multiply. God's got multiplication in his mind for you. And so when I started to grasp this, I want to show you this up on the screen here. When we started to grasp the understanding of multiple income streams. And I want you to understand this. And when you understand this, you'll figure out how to build an ark like the wealthy do. Now, it's the difference in thinking. Now, over here on this side of the mountain here, you see there's only one stream that goes to a small little pond. Every pond only has one tiny stream that feeds it. For most people, that's a job. See that word there? Job. That's their job. Now, what happens if you lose your job? Your pond becomes a desert. Now, look over here. When you only have one stream of income, your pond is usually the same size as the debt that you owe. And so you can never get ahead because both of these are the same size. The wealthy don't think a single stream of income coming into their life. The wealthy make plans, multiplication plans, which I'm teaching you today, where they say, how can I create not a pond of wealth, but how can I create, look at this, a lake. That's what this says right here, a lake of wealth. See how big this lake is? It's like Pac-Man. Any of y'all played Pac-Man in the past? Oh, I might be aging myself now, right? The Atari Pac-Man. Wow. Never forget when we got that as a kid. Now you got the big Pac-Man. You got multiple streams of income coming into your life. It creates a lake. Every lake, a lake cannot exist with only one stream. A lake has several different streams coming from several different areas. That's why a lake is big and a pond is small. This is the difference between the wealthy, the poor, and the middle class. When I discovered this in my mother-in-law's house, it changed. I never heard this before. It totally changed my life when I started to realize, wow, the mistake I made that got me in my mother-in-law's house is I only had one stream of income. When it dried up, now I'm in hell. Now I'm in my mother-in-law's house. That was 2002. Then I started working and made a plan. I said, okay, how can I create multiple streams of income coming in my life that now once I get multiple streams coming in, now my lake can become bigger than my debt. And within 3 years, my income swallowed up my debt. And this is what many of you need to understand today. Debt is not your problem. If you focus on getting out of debt, you will get more debt in your life. The law of concentration says what you focus on expands. And I was sold a bill of goods by, well-meaning preachers, televangelists, declare war on debt. And I was focusing on debt and I kept getting more into debt because that was not my solution. My solution was I needed to start generating multiple streams of income. And as I started to develop multiple streams of income, I could throw more money at that debt and get rid of that debt that was in my life. Total game changer. 3 years later, poof. My wife and I are moving into our dream house. 3 years later, poof. No credit card debt after $180,000 of credit card debt. 3 years later, right? I build this multi-million-dollar expert empire, and my whole life totally changes in 3 years by listening to the right voices. I stopped listening to people who only made $70,000 and $100,000 a year, and I started listening to multimillionaires who knew how the wealthy think and how they plan for the future. And I'm just God's servant coming to reveal to you, this is the plan. This is what you need to be thinking in this season of your life. So I said, okay, what can I do? And I said, okay, I'm going to build a stream. I'm going to build a speaking stream. I'm going to start speaking. I said, I'm going to build a coaching business. And this was 2002. And I started building. It was when coaching, you didn't know, nobody even was heard about coach. I said, I'm going to become a coach. I said, all right, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book about my problems. I started saying, wow, the one thing I became an expert on this year is crisis. So I wrote a book about crisis, right? And this book opened up a lot of speaking doors for me. I've developed a training program on it. So that was what, 3 streams. Then I went into real estate. That was 4 streams. Then I started doing investments and learning about investments, how to let my money work for me. Then I started Destiny College International, where I started training leaders. I started a whole school back in 2003. Then later on, I built another stream, a consulting stream. So I started to realize coaching was good, but becoming a consultant, that I could even multiply my efforts, my impact, and my income by going beyond just being a coach, by becoming what I call a high ticket consultant. So this is how I built, right? This is how I built my arc. I went from here to I built an arc here. Now here's the wisdom behind having multiple streams of income. When tough times come, usually it'll hit one of your streams. And if a tough time comes and one stream goes dry, guess what happens? You still have 6 other streams that you can tap into to take care of you during tough times. So I shared with you yesterday how I had a heart attack and my doctor said, you're not going anywhere for 8 months. No speaking. So that was one of my streams. But guess what happened? My other streams, my Destiny College, started to explode that year. And it really took off. And so because I had fortified my arc, when tough times came, it didn't matter. And here's what all of you believers who are online, you need to listen to this right here. This is so awesome. If all you have is one stream, you are limiting God to how he can bless you. The Bible says, see, we think we're waiting on God. We think we blame the devil. We blame Biden. We blame Trump. We blame politicians. But listen to me, my friend. The person to blame is the man in the mirror. God says you have limited the Holy One of Israel. Why? Because you only got one way God can bless you. When you have multiple streams, now you have multiple ways God can be saying, okay, wow, you know what? Cynthia didn't do anything to cause this crisis right here. But I see she's got these other streams. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bless this stream for her because I gave man volition. I can't change what is. Like, let me give you, for instance, my heart attack. Hey, he had a heart attack. He can't go nowhere, right? God can't get me out there. I needed to rest. Then COVID came. Oh, I'm not traveling anywhere. Again, that stream dries up, but I had all these other streams. COVID, I wasn't the one who made the decision to shut the country down, to shut the world down. I didn't decide that. I might have decided something different. But guess what? Their crisis became my crisis, right? And now I didn't do nothing wrong. But because of the crisis, all right, I'm part of it. Just like the recession. Inflation. You didn't cause inflation. But guess what? It comes. It happens. But when God sees things happening in the earth, God backs it up and has other ways in which he can bless you. And so that's what I want you to really grasp here today, that you've got to start building a lake of wealth. And one of the things that I want to encourage you to do is that I want you to consider this, all of you today. One of the fastest ways and the easiest way on the planet to be able to build another business is building what we call an expert empire. Now, many people come to me and they say, Dr. Keith, they're seeing these social media guys and telling people to get involved in real estate, buy these, how can I go buy an apartment complex? How can I go buy houses and flip houses and get into real estate? And here's what I tell people. Instead of focusing on a physical property, there's another piece of property you can build called intellectual property. A lot of people are missing this. We are in the information age where people are paying you for the information that you know. Just like back in 2002, when I was in my mother-in-law's house, I wrote this book on crisis. The United States of America, we just faced a terrorist attack in September of 2001. I wrote this book in 2002, and people were facing crisis. And guess what happened? People started buying my books. I started selling these. I started selling my programs. This was intellectual property. I faced a crisis. And how did I get out of my crisis? And people started buying it. This is intellectual property. And guess what? I didn't have to have $1 million to start writing a book. I didn't have to have $1 million to create a course on crisis. So many of you have knowledge, you have past experiences, you have insight, you have a special message that can help other people, and you don't see the value of that, so that you could create some intellectual property. So what I want you to do here today is, first of all, I want you, as you've joined, I want you to start thinking about this thought. Do I have some gold hidden in my past experiences, stories of how I've overcome things? The Bible says we overcome the enemy by the words of our what? Of our testimony. Wow. That means all of you have some sort of story about a test that you experienced in life, that when it came, it was a hard blow, but you overcame it. And the scripture says that testimony has great value to help you overcome anything. It can help you overcome poverty. It can help you overcome middle-class living. And right now, I'm just telling you, right now, people are becoming super wealthy by learning how to create intellectual property, put it online, make money in your underwear, let people buy stuff from you all over the world. That's what I do. People, I wake up every day. Every morning I wake up, I went to bed at night, wake up, people buying stuff all over the world. My intellectual property. You can create the same thing. So what I want you to do is our coaching session for today. I want you to think about some things tonight. And the first thing I want you to think about is this. How can I strengthen the first stream that I do have? Now, I want you to think about this because I want to help you. Many people just quit their job. I'm not saying you quit your job. because right now that is a reliable stream. What I am saying is that you need to make a plan for multiple streams. So you need to work your job, but build a stream behind the scenes. I'm suggesting that you highly consider becoming an author, a thought leader, a consultant, a coach, and that you create products that solve problems, heal people's wounds, or meet people's needs. All right. That's what we're looking for. Those three things of how we can do this. And people will reward us. We help solve their problems. They give us money. Money is a reward for solving problems. Money is a reward for healing people's wounds. If you've ever been wounded and now you're healed, somebody needs to hear your story. People reward us. We meet their needs. They meet our needs with money by showing us appreciation. That's what money is, a form of showing appreciation for services rendered. So what I want you to ask yourself, first of all, how can I strengthen the one stream that I already have? So some of you, if you're working a job, some of you need to consider, how can I develop more skills so that I can climb at what I'm doing already? Some of you need to maybe go to your boss and say, look, inflation has skyrocketed. Now is the time for you to ask more than any other time, because everybody knows it's hard to get people to work, good people to work. And so have you ever thought of, hey, let me just go to my boss and say, hey, boss, I'm telling you, if you don't pay me more, I'm going to have to, I don't want to, thank you for giving me this job, but I'm going to have to go look for something else if you don't increase my stream here. You can send me the tithe of that for that suggestion later on. Okay. But go have the guts, see your value, and go ask. More importantly, say, hey, boss, how can I solve bigger problems around here? These problems are too small. Now, I hope he doesn't say you're the problem, because then you're in trouble. All right. All right. Then you're in trouble. So how can I strengthen this stream? And then the second question for you to sleep on tonight is, what additional streams of income can I create? Now, I know being a coach, consultant, speaker, thought leader, maybe that's not for everybody. Maybe all of you are not there, but I know a lot of you are. I'm just curious. How many of you here have a passion to make a difference in other people's lives? I mean, you're like, I want something more than just a job. Post yes down below, will you? Post yes down below. Let me see all of you. I really want to make a difference. Okay. Oh, wow. I see a lot of you posting. Wow. I'm letting you roll. Now, I want to ask another question. How many of you online today, or if you're watching by Facebook or watching by replay, I want you to post it in there. How many of you are interested in how you could become a six-figure consultant or a coach? If that's you, put coach inside there. Just type coach. Type coach. If you're like, man, I would like to, help people. That's what coaches do. Coaches help people get from where they are to where they really want to go. I'm curious. Interesting. I see you. Wow. A lot of you. I thought so. How about, is there anybody out there that says, I want to be an author? Man, I'd love to be a best-selling author. I'd like to write a book. I've always had a dream about doing that. Put author in the bottom if that's you. If you say, man, I've always wanted to be an author. Or maybe some of you say, man, I'd like to be a speaker. If you would like to be a speaker, maybe put the word speaker in there as you're posting down below. I see you on Facebook too. Okay, great. Awesome. That's fabulous. I'm going to keep waiting. Some of you really are still posting. So here's what I want to tell you. Those of you who want to have that desire, I believe desire reveals design. An eagle desires to fly because it was designed by the Creator to do that. My. An eagle desires to fly because it was designed to do that. I want you to think about that. The reason why you have a desire to be an author, speaker, coach, consultant, thought leader is because God designed you for that. And here's what I want you to know. I can help you. What we do, and I'm going to move off of this topic, but what I'm doing in this season of my life is every quarter I am helping people actually become coaches, consultants, speakers, thought leaders through a 6-week mentoring program with me. 6 weeks. It's called 83K Academy. And what we do is we send you a video Monday through Friday where you'll learn. It takes you about an hour to maybe hour and a half-ish or so to go through those videos Monday through Friday. Saturday, you come online and I coach you one-on-one. We coach you in a small group setting. And I help you identify what you're going to be your message. What's the problem you're going to solve? The need you're going to meet, the pain that you're going to heal. We help you develop your book. Then we teach you how to write a book. We teach you how to create a course. I teach you how to develop a speech. I give you an outline. I give you all my outlines of how I write books, how I do speeches. I lay it all out for you. I've been doing this for 25 plus years. Took me all over the world, brought in millions of dollars, and I'm done. I want other people to go do it. I'm enjoying staying in my studio here, helping other people in this season of my life. And I want to help you. And it's called 83K Academy. And all you got to do is go to 83kacademy.com. And right there, you'll find where you can sign up and you can apply and book a call with Coach Sherry. Coach Sherry will take about 25 minutes to coach you, to show you what's going on, to see if this fits for you. And then if you feel like it fits for you, we feel like it fits for you, we invite you to become one of the 10. So it's 83kacademy.com. If you say, wow, I would want to investigate. I'm curious. If you're curious, you need to figure out, well, is this for me? So the question you need to ask is how can I do this the fastest? And then finally, number 3, what are my thoughts about becoming a consultant, coach, writer, or speaker? That's your assignment for today. Hey, is Coach Sherry still on today? Is she still on or is she off? I just maybe she might have had to go. I'm not sure. But listen, we're going to post the link. Janine's on. Hey, Janine. Janine is on today. She is from South Africa. She went through the program. And if you look right now in the chat, the link is right there. If you're on your computer, you can go there right now, 83kacademy.com. You can go on over there and do that. I see Rena is on. Hey, Rena, can you unmute yourself?
Sure.
Hey, there's Rena. Hey, just like real quick in a few minutes, can you just tell everybody about your experience with 83K Academy?
Well, it wasn't the change. Just taking 83K, it changed me. And I would encourage anyone to take 83K. It was a catalyst to increase my income. I've published a book. I've got 3 more in the hopper. My income for speaking didn't double. It like tripled. My calendar is full. I'm continuing to learn. I would take 83K over and over and over again. I really would. And the people that I met in my class, I still communicate with. It's a lot to take in, I will tell you that, but you can do it. I'm 66 years old, and if I can do it, you can do it. It's never too late to learn. I'm grateful to Dr. Keith Johnson for pouring everything into us. And Coach Sherry did an amazing job. So.
Wow. Thank you so much. Let's give her a hand clap. Isn't that awesome? Wow. She told her age, man. I was kind of shocked. I don't think I knew that. 66. And she's She's still skilling up. She's still believing God. Listen, retirement is never a kingdom principle. God's called us here to finish and to finish strong. Don't be dependent. Listen, if you're a senior out there, don't depend on Social Security. Your future's way too expensive to be depending on Social Security and your pension. Man, you need so much more money than that. So if you're interested, go and sign up 83K Academy. It's amazing. This conference is going on. We're taking applications right now for the next class. I hope you can join it.